गुरुदेव की जय। निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतरशतश्मद शिल भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतरशतश्मद शिल भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतरशतश्मद शिल भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतरशतश्मद शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। निखिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत शिल गोरक्षरस बाबाजी महाराज की जय। निखिल प्रविष्ट शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। निखिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप गौड़ीय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदरी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम अक्षय शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवदुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। What the heck? What is up with my internet? Why are the comments not loading? Is there a way I can refresh that? Oh. Reload frame. Let me try that. I've never done that before. Reload frame. Ah. Anyhow, I can't see who commented before, as you can see here. But I'm sure it's all the people who are regularly are there. So Ganga Didi and Raseshwari Mataji, Rupamanjari Didi, Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Gargaraj, Madhavi Didi, and Indira Mataji will be watching later. Anyways, to all of you, my Dandavat Pranams. Hari Bol. Also, maybe Hari Prabhu is there. Champak Didi, yeah. All right. So, okay, what was it? Give me 1 second. Okay, so we heard about Ajāmila, his marriage with the prostitute, his sinful acts, his old age, and his attachment to his youngest son, Narayan. On his deathbed, he saw 3 Yamadūtas and anxiously called out for his son Narayan. Then the Viṣṇudūtas arrived and stopped the Yamadūtas from snatching the soul of Ajāmila. The Yamadūtas inquired, "Who are you?" "Who are you? You appear wonderful. Why are you obstructing us?" The Viṣṇudūtas replied, "Explain to us dharma, adharma, the process and recipients of punishment." And then the Yamadūtas reply, "Dharma is prescribed in the Vedas. Narayan is the supreme controller. Everyone under the modes is punishable in proportion to their adharma, as confirmed by the witnesses of the sun, etc. One's past and future are understood by Yamaraj, but not the jiva who perpetually transmigrates by material enjoyment. He may be liberated by associating with the Lord and his devotees." And then, this is what we read from yesterday, and then they talked about the fall down of Ajāmila. That was 56. Let's see. We'll read from here from that point on. 56. But before that, the jiva's activities are the unseen cause for his attainment of gross and subtle bodies, which are sometimes similar to that of his mother or father. From bondage to liberation. Bondage. This awkward position of forgetfulness of the jiva is due to his association with material nature. Liberation. But that condition is vanquished by the association of the Supreme Lord or his devotees. Link. Now the Yamadūtas describe the qualities and sinful life of Ajāmila. So the qualities of Ajāmila. He was well versed in all Vedic literatures. He was a reservoir of good character, conduct, and qualities. He firmly executed all the Vedic injunctions. He was mild and gentle. He was controlled in his mind and senses. He was always truthful, knowledgeable, and chanting the Vedic mantras. He was very pure. He was respectful to the spiritual master, the fire god, guests, and elders. He is free from false prestige. He is benevolent to all living entities. He was well behaved. He was controlled in his speech. He was never envious of anyone. I think there's more responsibility also when you're, on that kind of level, then you have responsibility to, it's even worse if you fall down. Once Ajāmila, following his father's order, went to the forest to collect fruit, flowers, and grasses. On the way home, he saw a lusty Shudra shamelessly embracing a prostitute. Both were drunk. He was smiling, singing, and enjoying. Her eyes were rolling in intoxication, and her dress became loose. Seeing the woman embraced by the Shudra's arms, which were decorated with turmeric powder, the dormant lusty desires in his heart awakened, and in illusion he fell under their control. He tried to control his lusty desires by intelligence and by remembering Shastric instructions, but he was unable to control the mind, which was agitated by Cupid. He lost all his good sense, like when the sun or moon is covered during an eclipse. Because of lust arising from seeing her, he always meditated on her and abandoned all the regulative principles of a Brahman. Note: Ajāmila could not protect himself by Gyan or steadiness in Dharma, but he later attained Vaikuntha, restoring himself through Namabhas alone. This shows that the inherent strength of bhakti is superior to that of Dharma and Gyan. To satisfy the prostitute with material temptations, Ajāmila spent all the money inherited from his father. His intelligence, pierced by the lusty glance of the prostitute, Ajāmila engaged in sinful acts and soon gave up his young wife, who came from a respectable Brahmin family. He earned money by proper or improper means and used it to maintain the prostitute's sons and daughters. Thus he was bereft of intelligence. Transgressing the scriptures, acting irresponsibly, condemned for his behavior, leading a sinful life, and being impure, because of eating a prostitute's remnants, he passed a long time. He did not undergo atonement. Therefore, we must take him to Yamaraj, where he will be punished according to his acts and purified. So now, the Viṣṇudūtas, they chastise the Yamadūtas. After hearing the words of the Yamadūtas, the Viṣṇudūtas, who are always very expert in logic and arguments, replied as follows. Alas, how painful it is that adharma is touching the assembly of authorities of Dharma, where unpunishable and sinless persons are being punished unnecessarily. Protectors should be impartial. A king should be like a father, an instructor, endowed with good qualities, and equal to all. If he has opposite characteristics and exhibits partiality, where will the citizens go for protection? The mass of people follow the example of a leader, accepting his behavior as the standard. Yad yad acharati shayan itaras tarihate, saya pramanam kurute lokas taranuvartate. And remember, this is exactly like the Bhagavad Gita verse, what was it? It was 320 something? Except for this line, it was a bit different. An innocent man who does not know Dharma or Adharma is like an ignorant animal sleeping peacefully with its head on the lap of its master. How can a kind-hearted leader, who should have the trust of all beings, punish such a person who is fully surrendered in good faith? Link. The Yamadūtas might say, but Ajāmila has not performed atonement for his great sins. Now the Viṣṇudūtas will glorify the holy name. 7, 8. Oh, and if Rukmini is watching, Dandavat Pranams Rukmini Didi. Okay, 7 to 8. Let me just see what verse we're reading up to. I forgot. Reading up to 25. Okay. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Na cher ihaiva pachitim yatang hasa kritasya kuryan mana uktapani bhi dhruvam savai pretya narakanupaiti ye kirtita me bhavata stigma yatana. Shukadeva Goswami replied, My dear king, if before one's next death Whatever impious acts one has sorry, am I reading from the right chapter? I'm not. I was wondering. I was like, the Viṣṇudūtas is supposed to be. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, here. Ayam hi krita nirvesho janma kotyam hasam api yad vyajahara vivasho nama swastayanam hare. Ajāmila has already atoned for all his sinful actions. Indeed, he has atoned not only for sins performed in one life, but for those performed in millions of lives. For in a helpless condition, he chanted the holy name of Narayan. Even though he did not chant purely, he chanted without offense, and therefore he is now pure and eligible for liberation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Yamadūtas had considered only the external situation of Ajāmila. Since he was extremely sinful throughout his life, they thought he should be taken to Yamaraj, and did not know that he had become free from the reactions of all his sins. The Viṣṇudūtas therefore instructed that because he had chanted the 4 syllables of the name Narayana at the time of his death, he was freed from all sinful reactions. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes the following verse from the Smriti Shastra. Namno hi yavati shakti papa nirharane hare tavat kartum na shaknoti patakam pataki nara. Simply by chanting one holy name of Hari, a sinful man can counteract the reactions to more sins than he is able to commit. Whoa, just one holy name of Hari. But in this case, this is talking about the pure name of Hari also, right? Or maybe also Namabhas? I don't know. Brihad Vishnu Purana. Maybe it's talking about Namabhas here. Yeah. Okay, anyways. Avashena piyan namni kirtite sarvapatakai puman vimuchate sadhya singhatraster mrigar iva. If one chants the holy name of the Lord, even in a helpless condition or without desiring to do so, all the reactions of his sinful life depart, just as when a lion roars, all the small animals flee in fear. That's a cool one. Ruda Purana. Sakredu charitam yena haririttakshara dvayam badda parikarastena mokshaya gamanam prati. By once chanting the holy name of the Lord, which consists of the 2-syllable Hari, one guarantees his path to liberation. From the Skanda Puran. These are some of the reasons why the Viṣṇudūtas objected to the Yamadūtas taking Ajāmila to the court of Yamaraj. Etenaiva hyagonosya kritam syad aganishkritam yada narayanayeti jagada chaturaksharam. The Viṣṇudūtas continued, even previously while eating and at other times, this Ajāmila would call his son, saying, "My dear Narayan, please come here." Although calling the name of his son, he nevertheless uttered the 4 syllables, Narayana. Simply by chanting the name of Narayana, in this way he sufficiently atoned for the sinful reactions of millions of lives. Purport. Previously, when engaged in sinful activities to maintain his family, Ajāmila chanted the name of Narayana without offenses. To chant the holy name of the Lord just to counteract one's sinful activities, or to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name, is offensive. Namno balad yasa hi papa buddhi. But although Ajāmila engaged in sinful activities, he never chanted the holy name of Narayana to counteract them. He simply chanted the name chanted the name Narayana to call his son. Therefore, his chanting was effective. Because of chanting the holy name of Narayana in this way, he had already vanquished the accumulated sinful reactions of many, many lives. In the beginning, he was pure, but although he later committed many sinful acts, he was offenseless because he did not chant the holy name of Narayana to counteract them. What? I'm so confused. It says, but although he later committed many sinful acts, he was offenseless. He was offenseless because he did not chant the holy name of Narayan to counteract them. Is that talking about if you chant the name of Narayan to counteract your sinful acts? Then that's aparad. That's one of the nam-aparads. Okay, I think I get it now. One who always chants the holy name of the Lord without offenses is always pure. Yes, because that's an offense. You should never chant to counteract your offenses. But he didn't do that. He was chanting the name just to call his son, so he was chanting offenselessly. Okay, sorry about that. As confirmed in this verse, Ajāmila was already sinless, and because he chanted the name of Narayana, he remained sinless. Yes, Rup Manjari, yeah, exactly. It did not matter that he was calling his sons. The name itself was effective. There's a line missing here. Stena surapomitra dhrug brahmaha guru talpaga stri raja pitrigo hanta ye cha pata kino pare sarvesham apyaghatpatam idameva sunishkritam nama vyaharanam vishnur yatastar vishayamati. The chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu is the best process of atonement for a thief of gold or other valuables, for a drunkard, for one who betrays a friend or relative, for one who kills a Brahmin, my God, for one who indulges in sex with the wife of his guru or another superior. Oh my God, that's really. All right, so if you've done any of these things, but no, you shouldn't do it to atone for these things. It's just what happens. Oh man, okay. It is also the best method of atonement for one who murders women, the king or his father, for one who slaughters cows, and for all other sinful men. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu, such sinful persons may attract the attention of the Supreme Lord, who therefore considers, because this man has chanted my holy name, my duty is to give him protection. But yeah, that's the thing. You can't chant the holy name to atone yourselves for these things. It just happens if you, yeah. Okay. Na nishkriter uditar brahmavadivis tata vishuddhyatya gavan vratadivi yata harer nama padar udais tar uttama shloka gunopalam bhakam. By following the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or undergoing atonement, sinful men do not become as purified as by chanting once the holy name of Lord Hari. Although ritualistic atonement may free one from sinful reactions, it does not awaken devotional service, unlike the chanting of the Lord's names, which reminds one of the Lord's fame, qualities, attributes, pastimes, and paraphernalia. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the chanting of the holy name of the Lord has special significance that distinguishes it from the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies of atonement for severe, more severe, or most severe sinful actions. There are 20 types of religious scriptures called Dharma Shastras, beginning with the Manu Samhita and the Parashar Samhita. But herein it is stressed that although one may become free from the reactions of the most sinful activities by following the religious principles of these scriptures, This cannot promote a sinful man to the stage of loving service to the Lord. On the other hand, chanting the holy name of the Lord even once not only frees one immediately from the reactions of the greatest sins, but also raises one to the platform of rendering loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is described as Uttama Shloka because he is famous for his glorious activities. Thus one serves the Lord by remembering his form, his attributes, and pastimes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that this is all possible simply by chanting the Lord's holy name because of the Lord's omnipotence. What cannot be achieved through the performance of Vedic rituals can be easily achieved through the chanting of the Lord's holy name. To chant the holy name and dance in ecstasy is so easy and sublime that one can achieve all the benefits of spiritual life simply by following this process. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declares, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to Shri Krishna Sankirtan. The Sankirtan movement we have started offers the best process for becoming purified of all sinful reactions and coming immediately to the platform of spiritual life. Let me just see the comments really quick. Hari Bol Priya Didi. Alright. There's a whole conversation, but I need to keep on reading. Alright. Where am I? Why did I open that? Naikantikam tadi krite pi nishkrite mana punardhavati cher asatpate tatkarmanirharam abhipsatam harer gunanuvadha kalusatva bhavana. The ritualistic ceremonies of atonement recommended in the religious scriptures are insufficient to cleanse the heart absolutely, because after atonement, one's mind again runs towards material activities. Consequently, for one who wants liberation from the fruitive reactions of material activities, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, or glorification of the name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord, is recommended as the most perfect process of atonement, because such chanting eradicates the dirt from one's heart completely. Purport. The statements in this verse have been confirmed previously in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.2.17. Śrīnvatang swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridantasto hyabhadrani vidhunoti suritsatam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, the supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. It is the special mercy of the Supreme Lord that as soon as he knows that one is glorifying his name, fame, and attributes, he personally helps cleanse the dirt from one's heart. Therefore, simply by such glorification, one not only becomes purified, but also achieves the results of pious activities, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Punya Shravana Kirtana refers to the process of devotional service. Even if one does not understand the meaning of the Lord's name, pastimes, or attributes, one is purified simply by hearing or chanting of them. Such purification is called sattva bhavana. One's main purpose in human life should be to purify his existence and achieve liberation. As long as one has a material body, one is understood to be impure. In such an impure material condition, one cannot enjoy a truly blissful life, although everyone seeks it. Therefore, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 5.5.1 says, Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhayet. One must perform tapasya, austerity, to purify his existence in order to come to the spiritual platform. The tapasya of chanting and glorifying the name, fame, and attributes of the Lord is a very easy purifying process by which everyone can be happy. Therefore, everyone who desires the ultimate cleansing of his heart must adopt this process. Other processes, such as karma, jnana, and yoga, cannot cleanse the heart absolutely. Text 13. Ataina ma panayata krita shesha ghagnishkritam yadaso bhagavan nama mriyamana samagrahit. At the time of death, this Ajāmila helplessly and very loudly chanted the holy name of the Lord, Narayana. That chanting alone has already freed him from the reactions of all sinful life. Therefore, O servants of Yamaraj, do not try to take him to your master for punishment and hellish conditions. Purport. The Yamadutas, who are superior authorities, gave orders to the Yamadutas. Did I say the Yamadutas? The Viṣṇudūtas, who are superior authorities, gave orders to the Yamadutas, who did not know that Ajāmila was no longer subject to tribulation and hellish life for his past sins. Although he had chanted the holy name of Narayan to indicate his son, the holy name is so transcendently powerful that he was automatically freed because he had chanted the holy name while dying. Ante Narayana Smriti. As Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita 7:28, Yesham tvanta gatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvanda mohanir mukta bhajante mam drida vrata. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion engage themselves in my service with determination. Unless one is freed from all sinful reactions, one cannot be promoted to the platform of devotional service. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 8.5, it is stated, Antakale chamameva smaram muktva kalevaram ya prayati samarbhavam yati nastyatra shangshaya. If one remembers Krishna, Narayana, at the time of death, one is certainly eligible to return immediately home back to Godhead. Text 14. Sanketam parihasyam va. Oh, this is a famous verse. This is a very famous verse. I think Haridas Thakur quotes this in that assembly with, was it Gopal Chakravarti? Yeah. Sanketam parihasyam va stovam hela name baba vaikunta namagrahanam asheshaghaharam vidhu. One who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly to indicate something else, jokingly, for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. I'm sorry, this is just going to be a second. I'm not actually going to database the file. Alright. Done. Where's Chaitanya Chaitamita? Wow, this verse is quoted a lot. Anyways, okay. I'm getting distracted. Let's move on. Patita skalito bhagna sandashta stapta ahata harir itya vishenaha pumanarhati yatana. If one chants the holy name of Hari and then dies because of an accidental misfortune, such as falling from the top of a house, slipping and suffering broken bones while traveling on the road, being bitten by a serpent, being afflicted with pain and high fever, or being injured by a weapon, one is immediately absolved from having to enter hellish life, even though he is sinful. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 8.6, Yam yam bhakti smaram bhavam tyajantante kalevaram tang tang evaiti konteya sadatar bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. If one practices chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he is naturally expected to chant Hare Krishna when he meets with some accident. Even without such practice, however, if one somehow or other chants the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, when he meets with an accident and dies, he will be saved from hellish life after death. Cool. I kind of have that habit of whenever I hurt myself or anything bad happens, I go, Krishna. If it's really bad, though, I say the F word. So, need to work on that. Okay. Gurunam cha laghunam cha, guruni cha laghuni cha, prayaschitani papanam, gyatvoktani maharshibhi. Authorities who are learned scholars and sages have carefully ascertained that one should atone for the heaviest sins by undergoing a heavy process of atonement, and one should atone for lighter sins by undergoing lighter atonement. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, however, vanquishes all the effects of sinful activities, regardless of whether heavy or light. Purport. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes an incident that took place when Samba was rescued from the punishment of the Kauravas. Samba fell in love with the daughter of Duryodhan, and since, according to Kshatriya custom, one is not offered a Kshatriya's daughter unless he displays his chivalrous valor, Samba abducted her. Consequently, Samba was arrested by the Kauravas. Later, when Lord Balaram came to rescue him, there was an argument about Samba's release. Since the argument was not settled, Balaram showed his power in such a way that all of Hastinapur trembled and would have been vanquished as if by a great earthquake. Then the matter was settled, and Samba married Duryodhan's daughter. The purport is that one should take shelter of Krishna Balaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose protective power is so great that it cannot be equaled in the material world. However powerful the reactions of one's sins, they will immediately be vanquished if one chants the name of Hari, Krishna, Balaram, or Narayana. Taistanya ghani puyante tapodana vratadivi na dharmajam tantridhayam tarapi shangri sevaya. I'm just curious which verses Haridas Thakur says in that assembly. Anyways, I gotta stop. Oh, whatever. I'm gonna do this later, but just opening this takes a while to open. Okay, what am I doing? Hello. Okay. I already read this, right? Although one may neutralize the reactions of sinful life through austerity, charity, vows, and other such methods, these pious activities cannot uproot the material desires in one's heart. However, if one serves the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, he is immediately freed from all such contaminations. This is an important point. All these things, austerity, charity, vows, these cannot uproot the material desires in one's heart. But by serving the Lord's lotus feet, then that's how it's. Purport. As stated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.2.42, Bhakti pareshanu bhavo viraktir anyatra cha. Devotional service is so powerful that one who performs devotional service is immediately freed from all sinful desires. All desires within this material world are sinful because material desire means sense gratification, which always involves action that is more or less sinful. Pure bhakti, however, is anyabhilashita shunya. In other words, it is free from material desires, which results from karma and gyan. One who is situated in devotional service no longer has material desires, and therefore he is beyond sinful life. material desire should be completely stopped. Otherwise, although one's austerities, penances, and charity may free one from sin for the time being, one's desires will reappear because his heart is impure. Thus he will act sinfully and suffer. Ajnanad atava jnanad uttama shloka namayat sankirtitam agham pungso dahed edoyatanala. As a fire burns dry grass to ashes, so the holy name of the Lord, whether chanted knowingly or unknowingly, burns to ashes without fail all the reactions of one's sinful activities. Purport. Fire will act regardless of whether handled by an innocent child or by someone well aware of its power. For example, if a field of straw or dry grass is set afire, either by an elderly man who knows the power of fire or by a child who does not, the grass will be burned to ashes. Similarly, one may or may not know the power of the chanting. One may or may not know the power of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, but if one chants the holy name, he will become free from all sinful reactions. Yatagadam viryattamam upayuktam yadrichaya ajanato pyatma gunam kuryan mantro pyudahrita. If a person unaware of the effective potency of a certain medicine takes that medicine or is forced to take it, it will act even without his knowledge because its potency does not depend on the patient's understanding. Similarly, even though one does not know the value of chanting the holy name of the Lord, if one chants knowingly or unknowingly, the chanting will be very effective. Purport. In the Western countries where the Hare Krishna movement is spreading, learned scholars and other thoughtful men are realizing its effectiveness. For example, Dr. J. Stilson Judah, a learned scholar, has been very much attracted to this movement because he has already seen that it is turning hippies addicted to drugs into pure Vaishnavas who voluntarily become servants of Krishna and humanity. Even a few years ago, such hippies did not know the Hare Krishna mantra, but now they are chanting it and becoming pure Vaishnavas. Thus they are becoming free from all the sinful activities such as illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. This is practical proof of the effectiveness of the Hare Krishna movement, which is supported in this verse. One may or may not know the value of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, but if one somehow or other chants it, he will immediately be purified, just as one who takes a potent medicine will feel its effects, regardless of whether he takes it knowingly or unknowingly. Text 20. Shishuka uvacha ta evam suvinirniya dharmam bhagavatam nripa tam yamya pashanirmuchya vipramritor amumuchan. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, My dear king, having thus perfectly judged the principles of devotional service with reasoning and arguments, the order carriers of Lord Vishnu released the Brahman Ajāmila from the bondage of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and saved him from imminent death. Iti pratyudita yamya dutayatva yamantikam yamarage yata sarvam achachakshur arindama. My dear Maharaj Parikshit, O subduer of all enemies, after the servants of Yamaraj had been answered by the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, they went to Yamaraj and explained to him everything that had happened. Purport. In this verse, the word pratyudita is very significant. The servants of Yamaraj are so powerful that they can never be hindered anywhere. But this time, they were baffled and disappointed in their attempts to take away a man they considered sinful. Therefore, they immediately returned to Yamaraj and described to him everything that had happened. Dvijapashad vinir mukto gatavi prakritim gata vavandhe Shirasa Vishnur Kinkaram Darshanotsva. Having been released from the nooses of Yamaraja's servants, the Brahman Ajāmila, now free from fear, came to his senses and immediately offered obeisances to the Viṣṇudūtas by bowing his head at their lotus feet. He was extremely pleased by their presence, for he had seen them save his life from the hands of the servants of Yamaraj. I'm reading up to 25. Okay. Purport. Vaishnavas are also Viṣṇudūtas because they carry out the orders of Krishna. Lord Krishna is very eager for all the conditioned souls rotting in this material world to surrender to him and be saved from material pangs in this life and punishment in hellish conditions after death. A Vaishnav therefore tries to bring conditioned souls to their senses. Those who are fortunate, like Ajāmila, are saved by the Viṣṇudūtas or Vaishnavas, and thus they return back home, back to Godhead. Tam vivakshum abhipretya mahapurusha kinkara sahasa pashyatastasya tatrantar dadhire naga. O sinless Maharaj Parikshit, the order carriers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Viṣṇudūtas, saw that Ajāmila was attempting to say something, and thus they suddenly disappeared from his presence. Uh-oh, he's trying to say something. Let's disappear. Is that what happened? Okay. Purport. The Shastras say, Papishta ye durachara deva brahmana nindaka apatya bhojanastesham akale maranam dhruvam. For persons who are papishta, very sinful, and durachar, misbehaved, or very unclean in their habits, who are against the existence of God, who disrespect Vaishnavas and Brahmins, and who eat anything and everything, untimely death is sure. It is said that in Kali Yuga one has a maximum lifetime of 100 years, but as people become degraded, the duration of their lives decreases, prayenalapayusha. Because Ajāmila was now free from all sinful reactions, his lifetime was extended, even though he was to have died immediately. When the Viṣṇudūtas saw Ajāmila trying to say something to him, they disappeared to give him a chance to glorify the Supreme Lord. Since all his sinful reactions had been vanquished, he was now prepared to glorify the Lord. Indeed, one cannot glorify the Lord unless one is completely free from all sinful activities. This is confirmed by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita 7.28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva mohanirmukta bhajante mam drita vrata. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. The Viṣṇudūtas made Ajāmila aware of devotional service so that he might immediately become fit to return home back to Godhead. To increase his eagerness to glorify the Lord, they disappeared so that he would feel separation in their absence. In this mode of separation, glorification of the Lord is very intense. There's a line missing. Ajāmila pyata karnya dutanam yama krishnaya dharmam bhagavatam shuddham traivedyam cha gunashayam bhaktimam bhagavatyashu mahatma shravanadhare anutapo mahan asit smarato shubhamatmanam. After hearing the discourses between the Yamadūtas and the Viṣṇudūtas, Ajāmila could understand the religious principles that act under the three modes of material nature. These principles are mentioned in the three Vedas. He could also understand that the transcendental religious principles, which are above the modes of material nature and which which concern the relationship between the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He could also understand the transcendental religious principles which are above the modes of material nature and which concern the Supreme Living Being and the Personality of Godhead. Furthermore, Ajāmila heard glorification of the name, fame, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thus became a perfectly pure devotee. He could then remember his past sinful activities, which he greatly regretted having performed. We're ending with this purport. In Bhagavad Gita 2:45, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhuvarjuna Nirdvando Nityasattvasto Niryogakshema Atmavan. The Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna. Be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. The Vedic principles certainly prescribe a gradual process for rising to the spiritual platform, but if one remains attached to the Vedic principles, there is no chance of his being elevated to spiritual life. Krishna therefore advised Arjuna to perform devotional service, which is the process of transcendental religion. The transcendental position of devotional service is also confirmed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.2.6. Savai pungsam paro dharma yato bhakti rathoksaje. Bhakti, devotional service, is paro dharma, transcendental dharma. It is not material dharma. People generally think that religion should be pursued for material profit. This may be suitable for persons interested in material life, but one who is interested in spiritual life should be attached to parodharma, the religious principles by which one becomes a devotee of the Supreme Lord, yato bhakti rathoksaje. The Bhagavat religion teaches that the Lord and the living entity are eternally related, and that the duty of the living entity is to surrender to the Lord. When one is situated on a platform of devotional service, one is freed from impediments and completely satisfied. Ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasiddhati. Having been elevated to that platform, Ajāmila began to lament for his past material activities and glorify the name, fame, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So tomorrow, we will continue on Ajāmila's lamentation and his resolutions. Alas, how degraded I became, being a servant of my senses. I fell down from my position as a duly qualified Brahmin and begot children in the womb of a prostitute. Anyways, we'll read all these his lamentations and resolutions. And then his austerities at Haridwar and attainment of Vaikuntha. Hare Krishna. Yashoda Didi, I was scrolling, but I think it's maybe my screen froze. That happens sometimes. My internet connection. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmar Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitil Pravishta Mahabhagavat Srila Vaksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Naam Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashaja Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. Here's a picture. Ajāmila. Alright. Looks like Pradyumna said a lot of interesting things here. I'm going to have to go through these comments a little bit later though because it's late. There's so much. Wow. Okay. I'll check these a little bit later. Alright, Hari Bol, Dandavat Pranams everybody. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Hari Nam Ki Jai.